The lights flickered again in the command center of Frontier Station. Commander Jack Miller looked up from the display table and frowned. This was the third power drop today. Not good. Anna, how bad is it? He asked. Chief Engineer Anna Reed didn't look up from her tablet. Dark circles hung under her eyes. She hadn't slept more than 3 hours at a time in weeks. Bad, she said simply. Reactor 3 is completely gone. Reactor 2 is working at 60%. If we lose one... She didn't finish the sentence. She didn't need to. If they lost Reactor 1, 300 colonists would die. It was that simple. Jack walked to the large window that overlooked the mining colony. 5 years ago, Frontier Station had been humanity's proudest achievement. A self-sustaining colony 40 light-years from Earth. The first step in humanity's grand plan to spread across the stars. Now, most of it lay in ruins. The outer sectors were already lost, their buildings crushed and torn apart. The defensive wall around the central hub, their last stand, showed more damage every day. Beyond the wall, in the strange half-light of the alien world, dark shapes moved, thousands of them. The swarm. Nobody knew where they came from. 3 months ago, the first scout ships detected unusual movement in the hills beyond the colony. 2 days later, the first attack came. Since then, it had been a slow, grinding retreat toward the center of the colony. "Sir," called out Luis, their communications officer. Still no response to our distress signal. Jack nodded. He hadn't expected one. 3 months of silence told the story clearly enough. Earth wasn't coming. They were on their own. "Keep trying," he said anyway. Hope was all they had left. The door to the command center slid open with a hiss. Dr. Phil Barnes, the colony's lead scientist, walked in. His face was grim. "We lost Rogers and Martinez," he said quietly. Jack closed his eyes for a moment. 2 more good people gone. 2 more friends he'd failed to protect. "How?" he asked. "Repair mission to the south sensor array. The swarm broke through faster than we predicted. They never had a chance to get back." Anna slammed her hand on the console. "That's it. No more repair missions outside the inner wall. We can't afford to lose anyone else." "We can't afford to lose those sensors either," Jack countered. "Without them, we're blind. And without people, we're dead," Anna shot back. Jack didn't argue. She was right. Everyone in the room knew they were just buying time. But for what? A miracle that wasn't coming? "Meeting in 1 hour," Jack announced. "All department heads. We need to talk about our options." The word options hung in the air. Everyone knew they were running out of those too. The colony's main meeting room was designed to hold 50 people. Today it held 12, all that remained of Frontier's leadership. Jack stood at the front, facing tired faces. These were not the bright-eyed pioneers who had arrived at Frontier 5 years ago. These were survivors hanging on by willpower alone. "Our situation is critical," Jack began. "No point sugarcoating it. Food supplies will last another 28 days if we stick to half rations. Water recycling is still working, but the purification system is failing. Anna estimates 2 weeks before we have to switch to emergency reserves." "And weapons?" asked Martin, the head of security. "Running low," Jack admitted. "The pulse rifles still work against them, but we're down to 30% ammunition. The automated turrets on the west wall are offline. East and north are functioning, but overheating." Phil Barnes raised his hand. "The latest samples show the swarm is evolving. Their outer shells are getting thicker. Our weapons are becoming less effective with each attack." A murmur went through the room. This was new and terrifying information. "Can we adapt our weapons?" Jack asked. Phil shook his head. "Not with what we have here. We'd need resources, equipment, which we don't have," Anna finished. The room fell silent. Jack looked at each face, seeing the same question in all of them. Why hadn't Earth responded? A distress signal at light speed would have reached Earth within weeks. Even if they couldn't send help immediately, they should have answered. "I think we need to face facts," said Eva, the medical chief. "Earth isn't coming. Maybe they can't. Maybe they won't. Either way, we're on our own. No one disagreed. They'd all had the same thought. So what are our options? Martin asked. Jack took a deep breath. We have the emergency bunkers beneath the central hub. They were designed to withstand geological disasters. If we move everyone there, seal the entrances. We might buy some time, Anna nodded. But that's all time. Without supplies, without a way to fight back. She didn't need to finish, everyone understood. The bunkers would become their tombs. There's another option, Martin said quietly. The Colony Charter, Section 88. A heavy silence fell over the room. Section 88 was the self-destruct protocol, a last resort to prevent colony technology from falling into hostile hands. No, Jack said firmly. That's not an option, not while we still have people to protect. It might be kinder than what awaits us when the swarm finally breaks through, Martin argued. Enough, Jack cut him off. We're not there yet. Anna, how long until our final barrier is breached at the current rate? Anna consulted her tablet. Based on their attack patterns and our remaining defenses, 2 weeks. Maybe less if they speed up. Then we have 2 weeks to find another way, Jack said with more confidence than he felt. Dismissed. Get some rest. All of you. Tomorrow we start moving non-essential personnel to the bunkers. As the room emptied, Jack stayed behind, staring at the colony map projected on the table. So much lost already. So much sacrifice. Anna lingered by the door. There's something else, she said when they were alone. I've been analyzing the swarm's attack patterns. They're not just getting stronger, they're getting smarter. Learning our defenses, our weak points. What are you saying? I'm saying we might not have 2 weeks. The way they're adapting, we might have days. Jack looked back at the map, at the tiny area of safety they had left. Then we make each day count, he said. We owe them that much. As if to punctuate his words, the lights flickered again, and somewhere in the distance an alarm began to wail. Admiral Tom Hayes stood tall before the United Earth Defense Council. His gray uniform, decorated with medals from 20 years of service, was perfectly pressed, but his patience was wearing thin. We are wasting time, he said, his deep voice filling the grand chamber. Every minute we talk, more people die on Frontier Station. The semicircular room housed 15 council members. They sat behind a curved table, looking down at Tom from their raised platform. Behind them, a massive window showed Earth's blue curve against the blackness of space. A beautiful view that Tom had no time to admire today. Council Leader Wilson shook his head. Admiral Hayes, we understand your concern, but what you're asking for is impossible. You want us to send almost every available military ship to a colony 40 light-years away? I want us to keep our promise, Tom replied. When we sent those colonists out, we promised they wouldn't be abandoned. Ben Parker, the youngest council member, laughed without humor. And risk Earth's safety for 300 miners? The math doesn't add up, Admiral. Tom fought to keep his temper in check. He had expected resistance, but not this cold calculation of human lives. Let me remind this council what those miners mean to us, Tom said. Frontier Station sits on the richest deposit of xerium ore in known space. Without that ore, our new fold space drives don't work. Without those drives, humanity stays trapped in this solar system. This wasn't the real reason Tom was fighting so hard, but he knew the council would respond to practical concerns better than moral ones. The colony is probably already lost, said Council Member Diana Lee. The distress signal is 3 months old. By the time we get there, we can get there in 3 weeks, Tom interrupted. The new drives are ready. This would be their first major test, but my engineers are confident. The council members exchanged surprised looks. Most didn't have clearance to know how far the fold space technology had advanced. Wilson leaned forward. 3 weeks instead of 40 years, that changes things, but the risk is enormous, Tom admitted. We'd be jumping further than any ship has before, but the alternative is abandoning our people to die. The room fell silent. Tom knew what they were thinking. The cost, the risk, the political fallout if it failed. There's something else you should know, Tom said quietly. My daughter Anna is stationed on Frontier. She's their chief engineer. Murmurs filled the room. Wilson frowned. Admiral, you should have disclosed this conflict of interest. It's not why I'm here, Tom said firmly. I'd be making the same argument if Anna wasn't there. But yes, it's personal for me. Just as it should be personal for all of us. These are our people. The council began to debate among themselves. Tom stood silently, waiting. Through the window, he could see a fleet of ships in orbit. Ships that could save Frontier Station, if the council had the courage to act. Finally, Wilson called for a vote. All in favor of authorizing Operation Homecoming, raise your hand. 8 hands went up, 8 out of 15. A majority, but barely. The motion passes, Wilson announced. Admiral Hayes, you have your mission. God help you if you fail. Tom nodded sharply and left without another word. There was no time to waste. The space dock was a hive of activity. Ships of all sizes were being loaded with supplies and weapons. Crews rushed to their stations. The largest military mobilization in Earth's history was happening in record time. Tom stood on the command deck of the flagship Guardian, watching the organized chaos through the viewport. His second-in-command, Captain Ryan Cooper, approached, with a tablet. Final count, sir. 157 ships ready for departure, 35 heavy cruisers, 62 frigates, 40 support vessels, and 20 medical ships. What about the fold space drives? Tom asked. Installed on all ships. The engineers say they're as ready as they'll ever be. Tom nodded. It would have to be enough. Time to address the fleet, he said. Ryan activated the ship-wide communication system. Tom's voice would reach not just the Guardian but every ship in the armada. This is Admiral Hayes. In 1 hour we embark on the most important mission of our lives. Many of you know what's at stake. 300 colonists on Frontier Station are fighting for survival against an unknown enemy. They've been holding out for months, believing help would come. Tom paused, thinking of Anna. Was she still alive? Still fighting? Today we prove they were right to believe. Today, we show that humanity stands together, no matter the distance between us. The journey will be dangerous. The fold space technology is new. The enemy is unknown. Some of us may not return. He looked around at his crew, seeing determination in their eyes. But this is why we exist. This is why Earth United was formed, after the climate wars and the civil conflict. We promised to protect all humans everywhere. Today we keep that promise. Tom switched off the comm and turned to Ryan. Begin boarding procedures. I want this fleet moving in 45 minutes. Yes, sir, Ryan replied, then hesitated. Sir, about your daughter? What about her? We'll find her, sir. We'll bring her home. Tom appreciated the sentiment, but he'd been in too many battles to make promises he couldn't keep. We'll do our job, Captain. That's all we can do. On the lower decks of the Guardian, Lieutenant Kate Ward inspected her weapons team. 20 men, and women who would operate the ship's main guns when they reached Frontier Station. They needed to be perfect. The swarm adapts to attacks, she told them, reviewing what little information they had. This means we can't rely on the same weapon twice. We need to vary our approach, keep them guessing. A young ensign raised his hand. Ma'am, how do we fight something we know almost nothing about? Kate smiled grimly. We learn fast, we adapt, faster than they do, and we hit them with everything we've got. The team nodded, but Kate could see the worry in their eyes. She understood. They were heading into the unknown, facing an enemy that had already decimated a colony. An announcement echoed through the ship. All personnel, prepare for departure. Fold space jump in 20 minutes. Kate dismissed her team to their stations and headed for the bridge. As she walked, she felt the ship humming with power. The fold space drive was charging up. Outside, the 157 ships of Earth's armada moved into jump formation. It was a sight no human had ever seen before. The combined might of Earth united for a single mission. In the command center, Admiral Tom Hayes gave the final order. All ships, prepare for fold space jump. Next stop, Frontier Station. Let's bring our people home. The stars began to blur as the fabric of space bent around the mighty fleet. Earth's greatest armada vanished in a flash of light, racing across the galaxy to keep a promise. The first jump was perfect. One moment, Earth's massive fleet hung in orbit around their home planet. The next, they were 20 light-years away, stars in unfamiliar patterns surrounding them. Admiral Tom Hayes let out a breath he didn't know he was holding. On the main view screen of the Guardian's bridge, he could see other ships appearing one by one, their hulls gleaming as they emerged from fold space. "Status report," he ordered. Captain Ryan Cooper checked the incoming signals. 153 ships accounted for, Admiral. 4 still missing. Tom frowned. 4 ships lost on the first jump. Not as bad as the engineers had feared, but each ship carried hundreds of crew members. "Keep scanning for them," Tom said. "They might be delayed." "Yes, sir." Deep in the Guardian's science lab, Lieutenant Kate Ward studied the limited data they had on the swarm. The information came from Frontier Station's early reports before their situation became desperate. "They move like insects," she told her team, pointing to blurry images. "But they're the size of small cars. Their outer shell is hard, getting harder with each attack." "What kills them?" asked Jones, her weapons specialist. "Energy weapons worked. At first. Then they adapted." Kate pulled up another image. "Later reports show they had to use mining explosives, but those supplies are limited." The lab door opened, and Admiral Hayes walked in. Everyone stood at attention. "At ease," he said. "What have you got for me, Lieutenant?" Kate showed him their findings. "Sir, we need to hit them with everything we have, all at once. Different weapons, different approaches, don't give them time to adapt." Tom nodded. "Good thinking. Keep working on it. We jump again in 6 hours." As the Admiral left, Kate returned to her analysis. Something about the swarm's behavior bothered her. They weren't just attacking randomly. There was a pattern, an intelligence behind their movements. If she could understand it, the second jump was rougher. The Guardian shuddered as it tore through fold space. Warning lights flashed across the bridge. "Drive stress at 80%, called the engineering officer. "Structural integrity holding, but only just." Tom gripped his chair. "Hold it together," he whispered, though whether to the ship or himself he wasn't sure. With a final violent shake, the Guardian emerged from fold space. The stars had changed position again. They were now 30 light-years from Earth. "Ship status?" Tom asked. "Minor damage to decks 5 through 8. No casualties. Fold space drive needs 6 hours to cool down before another jump." Tom nodded, then looked at the fleet report. His heart sank. "How many?" 12 ships didn't make it, sir," Ryan said quietly, "including the medical ship Mercy." The bridge fell silent. Nearly 3,000 people gone in an instant. The price of their mission was already high. "Signal the remaining ships," Tom finally said. "Full systems check. I want damage reports within the hour." As the crew followed his orders, Tom stared at the view screen. Just one more jump to reach Frontier Station. One more roll of the dice with all their lives. In the mess hall, Kate sat with her team. The mood was somber after losing 12 ships. "We signed up for this," she reminded them. "We knew the risks." "But did we?" asked Davis, a young ensign. "No one's ever jumped this far before." "That's why they call it courage," Kate replied. "Doing something even when you're afraid because it's right." A loud announcement interrupted their conversation. "All personnel report to emergency stations. Prepare for unscheduled fold space jump." Kate and her team looked at each other in alarm. The drives needed more time to cool down. An immediate jump was dangerous. They rushed to their stations. On the bridge, Admiral Hayes was coordinating with the fleet. "What's happening, sir?" Kate asked. "Long-range scan just picked up a signal from Frontier," Tom explained, his face grim. "The swarm has breached their inner defenses. We're out of time." Kate understood. They had to jump now, ready or not. "All ships, this is Admiral Hayes," Tom broadcast to the fleet. "We cannot wait. Frontier Station is falling. We jump in 5 minutes, no matter the risk. Any ship not ready must stay behind." Throughout the fleet, crews rushed to prepare. Engineers pushed fold space drives beyond safe limits. Weapons teams loaded all systems. Medical staff prepared for casualties. On the Guardian's bridge, the countdown began. 5 minutes to jump. Tom thought of Anna. Was she still alive? Would they arrive in time? 4 minutes. Kate checked the weapon systems one last time. They would need everything working perfectly when they arrived. 3 minutes. Ryan showed Tom the final count. 138 ships ready to jump. 7 staying behind with damage too severe to risk. 2 minutes. Across the fleet, captains gave their crews one last chance to leave their ships. No one did. 1 minute. Tom took a deep breath. Whatever happens, I'm proud of every one of you, he told his bridge crew. Today, we show what humanity stands for. 30 seconds. The fold space drives hummed, their pitch rising to a scream of tortured physics as they prepared to bend space itself. 10 seconds. Tom closed his eyes briefly. Hold on, Anna, he whispered. We're coming. 5. Kate gripped her console. 4. Ryan double-checked the coordinates one final time. 3. Engineers throughout the fleet pushed their drives to breaking. Point 2. The stars outside began to blur. 1. The universe seemed to hold its breath. Jump. Space folded around Earth's armada. The ships vanished in a flash of light, tearing through the fabric of reality toward Frontier Station. It was the longest jump ever attempted. If they survived, they would arrive in a system under siege, facing an unknown enemy. If they survived. The fold space transition lasted longer this time. Warning alarms blared throughout the Guardian. Metal groaned as forces beyond comprehension strained against the hull. On the bridge, screens exploded in showers of sparks. Hold together, Tom shouted, over the noise. Just when it seemed the ship would tear apart, there was a sudden silence. The view screen cleared. Before them hung a small blue-green planet, Frontier, and around it, thousands of dark shapes swarmed like angry insects, converging on a tiny point of light on the surface, the last stand of Frontier Station. We made it, Kate whispered. Tom's face hardened as he saw the scale of what they faced. Battle stations, all ships deploy, we have people to save. Earth's mightiest armada had arrived. The real fight was about to begin. The central hub of Frontier Station had become a fortress of desperation. Commander Jack Miller hadn't slept in 2 days. His uniform was torn and stained with blood, some his own, some from others he had dragged to safety. West Barrier is down, shouted a voice over the comm system. They're coming through! Jack turned to Anna, who was frantically working at the main control panel. How much longer? 5 minutes, she replied, not looking up. I need 5 more minutes to reroute emergency power to the bunker shields. 5 minutes they might not have. The swarm had broken through faster than anyone predicted. The last defensive line was collapsing around them. Martin, take your team to the west corridor, Jack ordered. Hold them off as long as you can. Martin, his face grim beneath a layer of dust, nodded and signaled to his remaining security personnel. They were down to 11 fighters, all carried, the last of their pulse rifles modified with whatever power enhancements Anna had been able to create. Good luck, Jack said. Save it for yourself, Martin replied with a thin smile. We'll see you in the bunker. They both knew it was a lie, but neither acknowledged it. Martin and his team left at a run. In the far corner of the command center, Mark Davis, a young technician, was bent over a makeshift analysis station. He'd been studying the swarm's movements for weeks, trying to understand them. Commander, he called suddenly. I found something. Jack hurried over. What is it? Mark pointed to his screen. I've been tracking their movement patterns. Look here, they always attack in waves, from different directions. But the waves aren't random, they're coordinated. We already know they work together, Jack said, impatient. No, it's more than that. Mark pulled up another screen. Their attacks change when we damage this specific type. He pointed to a slightly larger creature with distinctive markings. When we hit one of these, the others get confused for a few minutes. Jack stared at the screen. They're being controlled? I think so. Mark nodded excitedly. These bigger ones, they're like relays. And if that's true, there must be a central controller somewhere, Jack finished. His mind raced with the implications. Can you locate it? Mark's face fell. Not with what we have here. Our sensors are too damaged. It would take a full orbital scan to... A massive explosion shook the building, cutting him off. Alarms blared throughout the station. That was the east barrier, Anna shouted. We're surrounded. Jack made a quick decision. Mark, download everything you found. Anna, forget the rerouting. We need to evacuate now. But the bunker shields aren't at full strength, Anna protested. Better weak shields than no shields, Jack said. Sound the final evacuation. Everyone to the bunkers, now. The journey to the central bunker was a nightmare. The remaining colonists, 138 out of the original 300, moved through maintenance tunnels deep beneath the station. They could hear the swarm above them, tearing through the upper levels. Keep moving, Jack urged, helping an injured woman along. We're almost there. The bunker entrance loomed ahead, a massive steel door designed to withstand natural disasters. It wasn't built for alien invasions, but it was all they had left. Anna waited by the control panel, counting people as they entered. Her face was tight with worry. Martin's team isn't back. Jack didn't reply. They both knew what that meant. When the last of the civilians were inside, Anna hesitated. We should wait a little longer. A crash echoed through the tunnel behind them. The swarm had found the entrance. Close it, Jack ordered. Now. With tears in her eyes, Anna activated the door. Thick steel slid into place with a final, heavy thud. Inside the bunker, emergency lights cast everything in a dull red glow. The colonists huddled together, some crying quietly, others sitting in stunned silence. How long will the shields hold? Jack asked Anna privately. With the current power levels? Maybe 36 hours. Jack nodded. It wasn't long, but it was something. And after that? Anna met his eyes. I have one last option. She showed him her tablet. On it was a diagram of the station's main reactor. We can overload it, turn the whole place into a bomb. That would kill everyone, Jack said. Yes, Anna agreed. But it would take the swarm with us. Jack stared at the tablet, then at the frightened faces around them. Was this how it ended? Not with a victory, but with a final, desperate act of defiance? We'll keep it as a last resort, he said finally. For now, we keep fighting. A loud bang echoed through the bunker as something heavy struck the outer door. Then another. The swarm was testing their final sanctuary. Mark approached them, his young face determined despite his fear. I've compiled all my research on the controller theory. If anyone ever finds this place... He handed Jack a data chip. Thank you, Jack said, pocketing it. It won't be for nothing, I promise. The banging on the door grew louder. Small children whimpered and clung to their parents. Adults tried to look brave, but fear showed in every face. I should have stayed on Earth, someone whispered. We all should have. No, Jack said firmly, loud enough for everyone to hear. What we did here matters. We proved humans can live among the stars. Whatever happens now, no one can take that away. Anna checked the shield readouts again and frowned. Power fluctuations in Sector 3. That shouldn't be happening. Before she could investigate, the bunker's long-dead communication system suddenly crackled to life. Static filled the room, then cleared. A voice, unfamiliar, strong, human, spoke through the speakers. Frontier Station, this is Admiral Tom Hayes of the Earth Defense Fleet. Do you copy? Repeat, this is Earth Fleet. We have arrived in your system with 138 ships. We are engaging the enemy in orbit. Hold position. We are coming in hot. I repeat, help is here. The bunker erupted in chaos. Cries of disbelief, joy, shock. Anna stood frozen, staring at the comm unit. Dad? She whispered. Jack couldn't believe what he was hearing. Earth had sent help? After months of silence? It seemed impossible. Yet the voice continued. Frontier Station, if you can. Hear us, hold on. Earth has not abandoned you. I repeat, Earth has not abandoned you. Outside, the banging on the bunker door suddenly stopped. In its place came a new sound, the distinctive whine of military-grade energy weapons. The battle for Frontier Station had just changed, from despair to hope in a heartbeat. They had thought no one would come. They were wrong. The sky above Frontier burned. From the small viewports of the underground bunker, the colonists could see flashes of light streaking across the atmosphere. Earthships, engaged in battle with the swarm. "It's really them," Jack whispered, hardly daring to believe it. They really came. Anna stood beside him, eyes fixed on the comm unit that had carried her father's voice. She hadn't spoken since hearing it, overwhelmed by emotions she couldn't express. The bunker door controls suddenly lit up green. Someone was opening it from the outside. "Everyone back," Jack ordered, raising his weapon. It could be a trick. It could be the swarm somehow mimicking human voices, human technology. The massive door slid open with a hiss of hydraulics. Jack aimed his pulse rifle, finger tense on the trigger. A squad of soldiers in Earth defense uniforms rushed in, weapons ready. At their head was a woman with lieutenant insignia, her face streaked with dirt and sweat. "Commander Miller?" she called out. "I'm Lieutenant Kate Ward, Earth Defense Fleet. Admiral Hayes sent us to find you." Jack lowered his weapon slowly. "How did you get past the swarm?" Kate grinned. "We brought some pretty big guns." She gestured to her team. "We've cleared a path to our shuttle, but it won't stay clear for long. We need to move now." The colonists didn't need to be told twice. After months of retreating, of losing ground, the idea of moving forward, of escaping, energized them. They gathered what little they had and prepared to leave. Anna approached Kate. "Admiral Hayes. Tom. He's my father." Kate's eyes widened. In recognition. "You're Anna Reed? He's been looking for you. He's up there right now, coordinating the battle from the Guardian." "Is he?" Anna hesitated. "Is he winning?" Kate's face turned serious. "It's not going to be easy. There are thousands of those things. But we have a plan, thanks to the data your technician sent up." She nodded toward Mark, who was helping an elderly colonist prepare for evacuation. "His controller theory?" Jack asked. "Exactly," Kate confirmed. "We've identified what we think is their main control hub on the far side of the planet. Admiral Hayes is leading an assault force there now." In orbit above Frontier, the battle raged. The space around the planet was filled with Earth vessels firing at the swarming alien creatures. The creatures were fast, their dark bodies absorbing energy blasts, but they weren't designed for space combat. Earth's ships had the advantage, for now. On the bridge of the Guardian, Admiral Tom Hayes directed the battle with calm precision. "Group 3, target those clusters near the South Pole," he ordered. "Group 5, maintain position around the colony. Nothing gets through to the evac zone." Captain Ryan Cooper approached with an update. "Sir, Lieutenant Ward reports they've made contact with the colonists. Evacuation is underway." "And my daughter?" Tom asked, allowing himself a moment of personal concern. "She's alive, sir." Lieutenant Ward confirmed it. Tom closed his eyes briefly in relief. Then his commander's instincts took over again. "Status on the main assault?" "Ready, sir. 10 ships in position near the control hub, waiting for your order." Tom studied the tactical display. The swarm was adapting to their attacks just as the reports had warned. Energy weapons that had been effective minutes ago were now barely making an impact. They needed to end this quickly. "Give the order," he said. "All ships in the assault group fire everything you have at the control hub. Maximum yield." On the surface, the evacuation was nearly complete. Earth shuttles, protected by fighter escorts, ferried colonists up to the waiting medical ships. Kate's team led the final group, including Jack, Anna, and Mark, across the ruined landscape of what had once been their home. "There's our ride." Kate pointed to a shuttle ahead, its engines glowing blue against the darkening sky. As they ran toward it, the ground shook beneath them. The air filled with an eerie, high-pitched wail that seemed to come from everywhere at once. Around them, the swarm creatures suddenly stopped moving. Some fell from the sky. Others froze in place, their limbs twitching uncontrollably. "They did." "Mark breathed. "They hit the controller." Kate didn't slow down. Keep moving, we don't know how long this will last. They reached the shuttle and piled in, helping the last civilians aboard. As the doors closed, they could see more swarm creatures beginning to move again, but slower, disorganized. Without central control, they were attacking each other as often, as they targeted the humans. The shuttle lifted off, its engines straining against Frontier's gravity. Through the viewports they watched as their colony grew smaller below them, the place they had called home for 5 years. It wasn't all bad, Jack said softly. Before the swarm came, we were building something good here. Anna placed her hand on his shoulder. We'll build it again. Somewhere else. The shuttle broke through the atmosphere into the black of space. And there, spread out before them in all its glory, was Earth's armada, ships of all sizes, their hulls bearing the scars of battle but still standing strong. Still fighting. The shuttle docked with the medical ship Horizon. As they disembarked, a crew member approached Anna. Engineer Reed, there's a priority communication for you from the Guardian. Anna was led to a comm station. When she activated it, her father's face appeared on the screen. It was older than she remembered, more lined, but his eyes were the same. Anna, he said, his voice breaking slightly. You're safe. Thanks to you, she replied, tears filling her eyes. You came for us. When we thought everyone had forgotten, I would have come alone if I had to, Tom said. Then he straightened, becoming the Admiral again. The battle's not over. The control hub is damaged but still functioning. I'm leading a final assault to destroy it completely. Be careful, Anna said. Tom smiled. I didn't come 40 light years to lose now. Tell the other colonists. Earth keeps its promises. The communication ended. Anna rejoined Jack and the others in the medical bay, where doctors were treating the injured colonists. Will your father be okay? Jack asked. Before Anna could answer, a blinding flash lit up space outside the viewports. In the distance, the Guardian led a formation of Earth's heaviest cruisers in a direct assault on the swarm's control hub. Energy beams and missiles converged on a single point, overwhelming even the swarm's adaptive defenses. For a moment, it seemed like the entire planet below them held its breath. Then the control hub exploded in a burst of light that outshone Frontier's sun. Across the planet, the swarm creatures fell. Some crashed into the surface. Others drifted lifelessly in space. Without their controlling intelligence, they were nothing. 3 days later, the colonists gathered in the observation deck of the Horizon. Admiral Tom Hayes stood before them, his uniform crisp despite the bandage visible at his collar. On behalf of Earth and all humanity, I want to tell you how sorry we are that you faced this threat alone for so long, he began. But I also want to say how proud we are of what you did here. You held out against impossible odds. You never gave up. He looked at Jack, at Anna, at Mark, at all the survivors who had endured so much. Some have asked if this was worth it. Risking a fleet to save 300 people, my answer is yes. Because what makes us human isn't the worlds we conquer or the resources we claim. It's the promise we make to each other. No one gets left behind. As the colonists cheered, Jack looked out at the ships that had come so far to save them. Earth's mightiest armada, here because of a promise kept. They had thought no one would come. They were wrong, and in that moment, despite all they had lost, humanity had never seemed stronger.